Okay, after looking through a couple problems with some of you guys, I realized that my examples didn't cover everything. So I'm going to give you one more example because on the assignment we got on number 3 and 4, they involve this doubling formula that we looked at, but they approach it a little bit differently. They ask you to solve for something else that we hadn't gone over. So we're going to look at this example here. We have this rabbit population. These rabbits were introduced onto an island. It says 8 months ago, so that's going to be important. The current rabbit population is 4,100, and what they mean by current is this started 8 months ago. So the original amount was the number of rabbits 8 months ago, and we don't know that. We just know that now there are 4,100. So the 4,100 is our N of T. That's our final amount after this population does whatever it's going to do. And then we have 3 months, and that's going to be A, because that's how long it takes to double. So A is 3. And I guess the other thing I want to point out here is this 8 months that we have in the first sentence. That's our T. That's how much time has passed. So T is 8. A is 3. And N of T, our final amount is 4,100. So the one thing we don't know on this one is we don't know the original amount. And that's actually the first thing it asks us to find is what's the initial size, the original size of this population. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our formula. We're going to plug in everything we know. So we know the final amount is 4,100. We know the original amount is what we're looking for. So we'll put n sub 0. That's our variable. Times 2. And then our time is 8 months. And our amount of time it takes to double our A is 3 months. So that's what our equation is going to look like. All right, so the good news here is this looks kind of complicated, but it's not too bad. All we really need to do is figure out what 2 to the 8/3 power is. And once we have that, then we can solve this with just division. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to probably want a calculator unless you're just really, really good with rational exponents. So 2 to the 8/3 power is approximately a 6.35. So we have, when we work this out, we have 4,100 is equal to our initial amount times 6.35 about. So when we double it 8/3 times, we end up multiplying by 6.35. So now all we have to do is divide by that number, and that will tell us the amount we started with. So we take 4,100 and we divide it by this 6.35. So grab the old calculator here. And the approximate number of rabbits originally is 646. That's rounded to the nearest rabbit. So 646 is approximately the original amount that we would have started with 8 months ago. Okay, so now it says estimate the population 1 year after rabbits were introduced to the island. And to do that, we actually have to use what we found on part A. Because to be able to start doing that, we have to have an initial amount, a starting amount. So for B, what we're going to do is we're going to say N of T, that we're looking for a final amount again, is equal to the starting amount, which we said is about 646 rabbits, times 2, because we're doubling every 3 months, and it says 1 year after they were introduced. So 1 year is 12 months. That's our time over 3, which is our A. And sorry, I overlapped with that little box there, but hopefully you can see that okay. So we can work this out now. We want to simplify that exponent. 12 divided by 3 is just 4. And that's really nice because we can take 2 to the 4th power without too much trouble. That's going to give us 16. So all we need to do here to figure out our amount of rabbits after 1 year is multiply our 646 our original amount times 16. So we double it 4 times essentially. And what we get is 10,336. So that is the final amount, or not the final amount, but the amount of rabbits after 1 year on the island. Okay, so now what we want to do is do a graph, sketch a graph. And I'm going to need to clear a little bit of space here for this graph. So I'm going to erase some stuff. But we want to remember the stuff we found already. We found that originally there were 646 rabbits. The problem tells us after 8 months, there's about 4,100 rabbits. And we know that after 12 months, after a year, there are 10,336 rabbits. So that gives us 3 points we can work with. So I'm going to make a little table. This is our t, our n of t. We have 0. There are 4,100. After 8 months, we have, after 8 months, there are 4,100. At 0, there was 646. That was our original amount. Okay, so we started with 646. That's what we found out. After 8 months, the problem tells us there was 4,100. After a year, after 12 months, there were about 10,336. And I've got 3 points. Never hurts to get an extra one. And looking at what I've got 0, 8, 12. I'm going to go with 4. So I'm just counting by 4s. That'll fill in that hole and give me a better picture of what my graph is going to look like. So what I'm going to do is just run through this formula again with the 646. And I'm going to take 646 times 2 to the 4 over 3 power. And work that out. And it gives me about 1,628. So that gives me enough to be able to make a pretty good sketch here. So on my x-axis, I'm counting by 4s. We got 4, 8, 12. On my y-axis, I've got to go up to 10,000. So let's count by 3,000s. So 3,000, 6,000, 9,000, and 12,000. And now we're going to put these on here. So my first point is at 0, 646. That's pretty far down here. Next point's at 4 and 1,628. It's going to be a little past halfway up to the 3,000. We got a point at 8 and 4,100. That's somewhere in here. And then at 12, it goes all the way up to 10,336. So you can start to see the curve here. And you can complete the graph like that. So the good news is you don't have to do any logarithms to work this stuff out. You just have to be able to plug exponents into a calculator and divide. So that's good. The key thing is just keeping track of what is it actually talking about and what is it actually asking you to do. That's what makes these tricky. So that's how you do one of these, and 3 and 4 on the assignment are very similar to this. So I hope that helps, but if you do need more help on it, we will have a chance to talk about it on Monday. So there you go, and sorry I didn't include one of these originally.